when I referred to Exhibit 7 earlier, it's a packet, so it was Exhibit 7, page 20. And when I referred to Exhibit 9, it was page 8. Mr. Conley, we were just talking about the IP address. You were able to determine then the IP address at the Sementilli residence.
That is correct.
Now, during this, are you providing information to the defendant during this time?
Yes. Once I set up the remote access, once I obtained her IP address with the help of my remote tech who logged into her computer, we're able to get that information. I set up my own phone first, and then we're able to provide that information to her.
And that's while you're still there?
That is correct.
So you're having a conversation directly with the defendant then about how to remotely access and view the cameras from her phone?
That is correct.
Okay. When you said you logged in from your own phone, what did you do?
So I have the app set up already. I just add a additional location to my app.
So what app is that?
The app today is called DMSS. At that time, it was called iDMSS for iPhone, GDMSS for Android.
Ma'am, Marcus Peoples Exhibit 137, two photographs which show the iDMSS Lite app.
Yes.
All right, just putting this up here for reference, is this what the app looks like if you were to go into either your iPhone on the left or your Android on the right and download it onto your phone?
Yes, this was the app we were using at that time.
Okay, and that time, has it changed since 2017?
Yes, app changes, 6 months, a year, name can change, but this is the app that we were using at that time.
Okay, so you already have the app. How were you able then, how can you log on and see the Sementilli live feed of the videos?
Okay, so what I'll do is, for example, I'll add a new account, a new device, for example. I'll put, for the name, I'll put in the client's name, for example, for my reference. I'll put in her IP address, or Sementilli's family's home IP address, and the username and the password. For myself, I would use an admin account that I usually don't share with the clients unless the cameras are, unless it's a house and the cameras are inside the house.
So were you able then at the scene or at the location that day, did you test it with your phone, your app, you used the IP address at the Sementilli residence, and you were able to test it and view that all the cameras were working?
That is correct.
Okay. Now we talked about that fifth camera that you did not install at the entryway intercom box. Was that wired into something that they would be able to view from the phone as well?
That is correct. So that is the intercom. I don't recall where the intercom screen was inside, but I believe the feed was already going into the old DVR. So we took it out of the old DVR, plugged it into the new DVR. So that was one of our fifth camera.
So when you pull up the app on your phone with their IP address, you can see at one time 5 cameras.
That is correct.
Okay. That monitor that's in their kitchen then, does that show all 5 of those cameras as well?
That is correct.
And you replaced that monitor?
Yes.
So that was a brand new one?
It was a new one. That is correct.
Right. Did you show them before you left, did you show the defendant how to access it with your app and what you were doing?
Yes.
So you went through it on your phone with her?
That is correct. I usually do that. I don't recall if I did it with her specifically. One of the reasons I don't want to do that is because people get like all, they say, oh my God, you're watching my cameras on your phone. Are you going to be watching it while you leave? So sometimes I do it, but I necessarily won't pull up their home on my phone. I'll pull up like my home, and I'll show them how the app works. In case I'm not around while the cameras are up. I can connect her phone to her system without having the cameras connected, right? Because the system could be up to the internet, but no cameras connected.
So that was something that, was that something she told you she wanted, was to be able to remotely access these cameras from her phone when she's not at home?
Absolutely.
Okay. Did you ever have that same conversation with Fabio?
Other than the request he had in the original email, no.
Okay, so you never talked about the logistics of the cameras and how to access it with Fabio?
No.
So after that first interaction, when you got the email and she put him on speaker when you went out for an estimate, did you ever really communicate with him again?
I don't think so.
Okay. was your point person then, or your person that you communicated with the defendant?
Seems like, yes, that's what it seemed like. Once I sent the estimate, the approval came from her.
Okay.
That was it from there, then on.
All right, so then after you leave, what happens after all the equipment's set up, you've tested it, it's working on your phone, then what's the protocol, what happens next with the customer?
So my phone tech is supposed to do a follow-up with the client, send the welcome email. We call it a welcome email. It's the instructions that basically tell her what app to download, that information, and he's supposed to do a follow-up to make sure that if they have any questions regarding the instructions.
Okay. And if I may mark as 138, 3 pages email from tech support at cctvfirst.com to palmati-mo@hotmail.com.
All right.
All right. Putting this email up here, then this is the same day, Tuesday, June 28th, 10:37 a.m. From the tech support. Who is tech support within your company?
At that time, it was a gentleman by the name of Nasir that worked with me.
And is this a standard email that goes out to all of your customers?
That is correct.
But this specific email went to the defendant, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, and then can you explain what information you're providing to her?
Basically, it's telling the client that, how many ways you can access the cameras remotely, giving them instructions on Internet Explorer, Firefox, if they decide to go that route, giving them a username, password, the unique IP address, and then plugins they may need for Mac and Windows,
Okay. On page 2, and I was showing you page 1, or page 2, is there more, same thing here, specific instructions for an iPhone?
Yeah, so this one is, as simple as we can, instructions for the iPhone. For anybody who has never done it before too, it tells you download and install the IDMSS Lite or GDMSS Lite from App Store. So whatever they type in, based on their phone, the app will pop up if it's I or G. Then it tells them exactly step by step what to do to set up the app with no supervision, no involvement from us, hopefully.
And is this the same information that you already verbally gone over?
Yes,
at the house?
that is correct.
Did you get a text from the defendant regarding setting up this system?
I believe she has sent a text like in the afternoon.
136, which is early March, page 2, at June 28, 2016 at 1:30 p.m. Is that a text from the defendant to you saying, I can't connect with my iPhone, went to support page, but are asking for name and support key?
That is correct.
And then is that you who answered, I will help you shortly?
Yes.
What did you do?
I believe what I usually would do is I will take the message and forward to my the person who was supporting her, the tech support person, and he would basically just call her and walk her through it.
All right. Fabio Marcus Peoples, 139, 3-page email correspondence, again from First Digital Surveillance, to the defendant. Let me mark that. Okay. This email then, same time frame, June 28th, 2:19 p.m. So that would be shortly thereafter. Is that you asking someone to help the defendant? Nasir, please assist Monica with remote access today.
That is correct. So I'm just basically telling my tech to assist her.
And then at 12:50 p.m., did that same email go back out once again explaining how to download the app for her?
Yes.
Okay. And again with the instructions, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. So then your correspondence, again, 136, page 2. She answers, I got it, thanks. And then you responded, please let me know if any questions. Did she ever follow up and say, I can't access it anymore, I'm having problems, anything like that?
I don't recall 100% what happened after that because I think she said, I got it, thanks. I'm not sure exactly if she meant like she was able to access it. So I just asked her if she has any questions, let us know.
Okay.
And I had already told the guy in my office to follow up. So I think one of the reasons I may have asked her that question, are you home, is because sometimes when people are home, they're using the home Wi-Fi. They're behind the same IP address as the camera system is. Sometimes you cannot watch your cameras when you're home.
Okay.
If your Wi-Fi is turned on. Simply put. So you can just turn off your Wi-Fi. For example, you could be anywhere in the world, you can watch your cameras. So I think I may have, that's what I was asking her, if she was home. I didn't get a response, I believe, and then I just left it alone.
Okay, so that was the end of the communication.
That is correct.
Okay. She never followed back up any more questions about
Not that I could recall.
accessing. Now, just a few more questions, as far as the DVR box, the actual box. Explain again, is there any storage that's on the box when it's plugged in?
So the DVR has a hard drive, just like a computer. And the hard drive size dictates how long the system will record. We do record on motion only versus recording all the time. So the system can hold generally about 30 plus days.
Okay, but you need the box to get that data.
Absolutely, you need the box. The DVR box has a hard drive inside. So you need both, that DVR and the hard drive inside.
So if the box is stolen, removed, unplugged, or broken, you can potentially lose all of the recordings.
Absolutely.
Okay. In this case, were you ever provided that original DVR box to try to retrieve any data from it? Meaning, did you ever get it back after this?
No.
Okay. One moment. And then these cameras that you upgraded, were they, what was different about the old cameras versus the new cameras?
Resolution, clarity, night vision, so just, much better. Visibility.
And when you say motion sensor, just briefly explain what
Sure.
that means.
So most DVRs are capable of doing it to some extent, even like 10 years old or older systems, but what we want to do is we want to record only motion detection. If there is any motion at all, we want to record that. So the motion could be a tree moving,
Okay.
a car driving by the street, not even coming to your place, that will trigger a motion.
Okay.
So when you do a playback, you will see only activity.
All right. So if you want to view it, you can be away from your residence. Does it matter how far you are to be able to view what you're watching at your residence on the videos?
No, all you need is internet at home and internet wherever you are.
And are you always then using your home IP address?
Yes, you are.
Is there a way to tell if someone's at a different location if they're viewing the video? Like basically, if someone's not at the location, they're down the street, is there a way to go back and look at if that person was actually viewing the video?
There's two ways I think you can tell. The simplest way is if you have the DVR, you can see the log live, or you can do the history search.
So the box would have a history if someone logged in and viewed it, but you need the box.
You need the box.
Okay. What's the other way?
The other way is data spike. So let's say if you're watching Netflix or anything online, you're downloading the data from YouTube and all that stuff. So it's all downloaded. When you're watching cameras, it's the other way around. The data is uploaded. So you will have a spike on your upload.
Okay, and how can you tell where that spike is? Where do those records come from?
The internet provider, most likely. You can check with the internet provider.
And in your experience, the internet provider, they maintain records that will show things such as data spikes?
I'm not sure about that.
Okay, that's your understanding.
Yeah, that's my understanding. I'm not sure about that.
Did you meet with detectives then in July 20th of 2017 and initially go over this case? They asked you questions?
I believe so, yes.
So when they first met with you, again, we're talking July 20th of 2017, do you recall them asking you questions specifically about the Sementilli residence?
Yes.
Did you have to go back after that initial meeting and refresh your memory and look through emails and things of that nature?
Yes, absolutely, I did.
Okay. And did you talk to them about these data spikes and ways that you could tell if you didn't have the DVR box?
I believe we did talk about that, yes.
Did you subsequently then get called to testify at a grand jury then the following month in August of 2017?
I believe I did.
Hold on a moment. Let me ask you this. If you were to, you provide a password and an ID, right? You have a username and a password to the customers.
Right.
Okay. Is that the same one that you send to every customer?
Yes.
So what I'm saying is originally you sent instructions how to log on, correct?
Yes.
And then do you provide them with any instruction how to change that password if they want to?
I don't provide them instructions on how to change the password necessarily, but the format that I use is the same for all the customers.
So what if someone were to get that email and say, this is how you need to download IDMSS, this is your username, this is your password, and this is your IP address. What if someone were to get that email and forwarded it to a family member or a friend or somebody else? Can that person now follow those same instructions and log on to the Sementilli IP address and access those videos?
Absolutely. I think the way we write the instructions, even if you're not tech savvy at all, and that's why we write the instructions. Within 5 minutes, you can be viewing the cameras from anywhere.
Okay, so also while you're out and about, and we talked about the data spike, can you be on other apps while you're watching those videos? Let's say
Yes.
you're out somewhere and you want to look at your home surveillance. Can you have other apps? Let's start with, can other apps be open?
Absolutely.
Can you be on like YouTube and be watching your videos from
Absolutely,
surveillance?
you can.
How does that work?
So I myself normally, sometimes I forget to close the app, and then I get a warning like you've been using the data in the background. So I would sometimes have the cameras on, and I would go to WhatsApp myself, or if I want to go to YouTube, and I'll leave the apps on sometime myself, and it works simultaneously at the same time.
So there's no limit as far as you know?
As far as I know, no.
So, for example, you can have a YouTube open, a website open, your live streaming videos are open.
Right.
And what does live streaming mean?
Live streaming basically is a continuous feed of the cameras. You may have a hiccup of you may have like 1 to 3 seconds delay, depending on your internet speed at home and where you are. Other than that, it's just a live stream, continuous feed.
And when you testified before, live streaming then uses a lot of data, which causes those data spikes?
It can use, absolutely, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
Councillor Cross.
Thank you, Your Honour. Morning, Mr. Khan.
Hey, how you doing?
So First Digital Surveillance, that's your company, correct?
That is correct.
Indeed, I think that's the company that's on the T-shirt you're wearing,
Yes.
right? And you said that installs and integrates security cameras at people's homes, is that fair to say?
Residential, mostly commercial.
Okay, but residential as well.
That is correct.
And you started your company in 2007, you said?
I believe so, yes.
So in 2016, it's 2016 you did this install, wasn't it?
That is correct.
In the middle of the year in June, correct?
That is correct.
So in 2016 you'd been operating for 9 years, right?
I believe so.
Okay. And how often would you say you did installations? Was it sort of once a week? What would you say at that time?
5 days a week, 5 to 6 days a week.
So a lot of installations.
Absolutely.
All right. And that's obviously many, many a year. So from your experience, this installation you did for the Sementillis, it was nothing out of the ordinary what they were asking for, is that right?
That is correct.
And someone requesting remote access, is that a common thing people ask for?
It is a common.
A popular thing?
It's common and popular. That is.
So again, someone requesting that, it's nothing unusual, out of the ordinary, right?
It's not unusual.
All right. I just want to ask a little bit about the setup, but let's start with how the setup came to be. So as you've confirmed, it was Fabio Sementilli who reached out to you first, correct?
That is correct.
In that email we saw, right?
Yes.
And Monica was not part of that email, right?
She was.
She was copied on it, but
She was
wasn't
copied on it, yes.
communicating on it, right?
Not communicating directly at that point.
Okay, and then there was some back and forth emails deciding the time and telling you the location, correct?
Yes, from Fabio.
And that's all from Fabio, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then you said you had a phone call with Fabio, right?
I believe, I don't recall if I had a phone call with him before I went out there, but we definitely had a phone call, I believe, when we were at the premises.
So you had a phone call at some point. It was either before you went to the premises or during while you were at the premises.
I don't recall if I had one before I went to the premises. I usually do. I usually want to talk to people before I go out and, invest my time because it's a free estimate. He came across from his email, he came across pretty serious and he wanted to get it done. You get this vibe sometime. So I don't recall if I talked to him over the phone, whether it was Sunday or Monday.
You definitely spoke to him over the phone about
I spoke to him over the phone, definitely at the house with her.
And as part of that, he was talking about exactly what he wanted.
Exactly.
And he was saying things like, I want a new camera above the front door, right?
Exactly.
And he was saying, I want remote access. He was saying that.
That was in his email too, and I'm sure that's what we discussed. That is correct.
Okay, so you're sure that you discussed with him, Fabio, asking about remote access?
I don't recall it, to be honest. It was in his email, so it was clear that that's what the outcome needs to be.
Okay. Let's talk just briefly about the actual cameras you had set up. If I could look at People's Exhibit 130. Just showing you People's Exhibit 130. You see this?
Yes.
And these are the cameras that you were working on, correct?
That is correct.
And you replaced 3 of them, is that right?
Yes.
And then you installed a new one?
Yes.
And the new one, as I understand what we testified to earlier, is the one right in the middle here, correct?
That is correct.
And then these are the 3 you replaced, correct?
Yes.
These are obviously all external cameras, right?
That is correct.
No internal cameras you worked on?
No internal cameras that I can recall.
And just to clarify, these are fixed cameras, they're not movable, right? They don't move themselves.
That is correct.
And you can't move them, they just have a fixed point of view.
They're a
right?
fixed point of view, yes.
You talked about an intercom camera, right?
Yes.
And that's not shown on this.
That is correct.
I just wanted to be clear, so this obviously happened 9 years ago, right? You did this installation.
That is correct.
It's right though, isn't it? Just to clarify that actually the intercom camera was a separate system, wasn't it?
I believe the intercom camera, because it is an intercom, so it doesn't make sense to have an intercom outside and no receiver inside. I don't recall where the receiver was, but the output of that camera was also coming to the previous DVR.
Okay. Do you recall that when you set up this system with the monitor showed 4 cameras? It didn't show the intercom, that was separate. Do you remember that?
When I set up, I believe it's correct to say that the original system had 4 cameras. I don't remember what the capability of the original system was, a 4-channel or not. Channel means like how many cameras you can add. But when I finished the job, I had 5 cameras on it, including the intercom.
All right, well, you remember you said you testified at the grand jury, correct? That was back in August 2017, right?
Yes.
And that would have been just over a year after all this took place.
Right.
Obviously now with a lot longer, 9 years after this took place, correct?
Right.
Do you remember being asked about how many cameras you installed at the grand jury?
I believe they did, yes.
And do you remember being asked if there's a total of 4 cameras on the system, and you said, yes, that sounds correct.
I believe so. That is correct.
Okay, so actually, thinking back now, me telling you that, from your grand jury testimony, the system you set up, it was actually a total of 4 cameras, not 5.
I think I've seen the pictures now, and it has 5 cameras on it. I looked at my records, and it has 5 cameras on it. Before, I was going by my memory. So I've looked at the client information, and it had 5 cameras on it total, including the intercom camera, which we did not touch.
Sorry, just one moment. Scott, what pictures are those that you're talking about?
Most of the time, we would take a picture from when we do the job before and after. We take pictures.
All right.
So,
we don't have those here today, do we?
I don't have those pictures right now. No.
Okay. Sorry, just one moment. All right. Just some technical questions though. You were saying how it needs to connect to the home IP address. It
Yes.
absolutely has to in order to view video, correct?
Yes,
So there's no connection to the home IP address. You can't live stream video from your phone line.
that is correct.
And that's because it has to connect to the DVR, which is then connected to the security cameras.
That is correct.
And obviously, if the DVR is taken, there's absolutely no way to view the security cameras.
If the DVR is taken, then you cannot access it. That is correct.
Looking at this picture back again, so this camera here, it has a cone that shows the field of view, correct?
Yes.
So this would capture, I think we saw another prosecution photo, this would capture this area here, correct?
That is correct.
But there's no cameras that you install that you know of that capture this back patio area.
Objection. Can we just describe what this area was?
Sure, I think it's described by the people as the side patio, which is next to the master bedroom. And there's another photo that I'll put up.
No, just for the record.
Oh, okay. So to be clear, I was describing the top corner camera and saying that it captures the side patio, which is by the master bedroom. Is that your understanding?
That is correct.
And then the other patio area I refer to as the back patio to the left of the house. You are not aware of any cameras you installed or in existence that capture this?
Yes, I don't recall that.
I think you also said that when you were there, installing the cameras, you were with Monica Sementilli, correct?
Yes.
And you said you don't have any recollection of speaking to her about iCloud or anything like that.
I don't recall that. Yes.
Now, you talked about how you had some certain text with Monica Sementilli throughout the process, correct?
Say that question again.
You had some text communication with Monica Sementilli.
Yes,
throughout
text
the process.
communication. Yes.
Can we just have one time, please?
I'm so sorry.
Thank you.
But it's true that there were communications that were also sent to Fabio Sementilli, like the proposal, for example.
Yes.
Okay, so the proposal was sent to Fabio, correct?
That is correct.
And it was addressed to him, correct?
Yes.
And the invoice that was also sent to Fabio, correct?
Yes.
And that was addressed to him again, Fabio Sementilli, right?
Yes, I don't recall if we had CC'd Monica on every conversation. Seems like she was CC'd from the beginning, from Fabio. We may have continued that trend.
All right. But regardless of what it could be with CC, these things, the proposal and the invoice were sent to Fabio Sementilli, with him named them.
Yes.
And you were shown a document which was the instructions being sent to Monica Sementilli. Remember that?
Yes.
It's also true, isn't it, though, that the instructions were also sent to Fabio, weren't they?
I believe they were both CC'd on it.
Right.
They were sent to both.
And then in your later email, there was a later email where you were showing where you contacted your tech support guy, I think that's it. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And Fabio's also CC'd on that, isn't it?
Yes.
So there were multiple communications with Fabio throughout this process, correct?
Email communication, yes.
Yes. Multiple email communications. There was him initiating contact, right?
Yes.
Him having a back and forth with you.
Yes.
And at that point in time, you didn't know who Monica Sementilli was, did you?
Say that one more time.
When you had the first initial email communication with Fabio Sementilli, you remember that?
Yes.
And then you had a few more emails after, which would just clarify the time and the address.
Yes.
At that point, you never met Monica Sementilli, had you?
No.
And you didn't know who she was at that point? Right?
That is correct.
And then, obviously, you send the proposal and the invoice and the instructions to Fabio.
Yes.
Okay, I just want to go back just briefly. You talked about looking at photos which seem to confirm something about the intercom camera, correct? Right?
Yes.
Do you still have these photos?
I don't recall it at this point if we have it. I usually have this information in our computers.
Were they ever provided to the police?
I don't recall it.
I just wanted to ask you just another technical question. In relation to the IDMSS app. So you spoke about how you can have it on your phone.
Yes.
And it can run in the background, right? That's what
Yes.
you were saying.
Yes.
So you can switch to another app,
Right.
such as WhatsApp or YouTube, correct?
Right.
And then the IDMSS is running still in the background.
That is correct.
And it could still be using data if it's running in the background, correct?
It can still be running the data. That is correct.
Right. Even if you're not actually looking at the app.
That is correct.
Okay. And another thing, I just wanted to clarify. The iPhone doesn't have a split screen function, does it?
Not that I know of. Between multiple apps?
Right, you can't look at them
Two
on
apps.
the same screen at the same exact time, can you?
I'm not familiar with it.
Okay. So, when you talk about doing things simultaneously, just want to make this clear, is what you mean that you can have the IDMSS open, and you're looking at the home surveillance cameras, for example, but then if you want to look at YouTube, you have to minimize it and then go to YouTube. Is that right?
Yes.
So you can't actually look at them both at exactly the same time.
That is correct.
You have to minimize one and then you switch over to another, correct?
That is correct.
And that's the same if you wanted to text message, for example.
Yes.
You couldn't actually text message at exactly the same time that you're viewing the cameras. You'd have to switch over to the text message app.
That is correct.
Okay. And the same with WhatsApp or another communication app. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Sorry, just one moment. No further questions.
Anything further by the people?
Just quickly, 128, we're talking about the email from Fabio. That's the one email you got from Fabio.
The first email, yes.
Right. He never asked for remote access.
I think it was my misunderstanding.
Did he ever ask for remote access?
Actually, it was my misunderstanding. I apologize. Apparently not.
Okay. And in fact, after this first email, did Fabio respond to any of the emails?
If he responded to any of the emails,
Yeah, we went through all the emails.
yes.
Did you see Fabio responding to anything after you first set up the date of the installation, or the date of the estimate?
No, that was interesting actually. Up to the point the estimate was provided, even the approval did not come from him.
Who approved it?
Monica.
Okay. And then 138, again, the surveillance, when the instructions were sent, they were sent just to the defendant on how to download that app.
Yes, so
And get remote
that was
access.
my misunderstanding again. It was just sent to Monica, and the CC was supposed to be me, but it was just misspelled.
Okay. To be fair, you did ask after that for Nasir to help. And when you did that, you put, looks like did you put Fabio on the email then?
Yeah.
But did he ask you to do that, or did you just add him onto it?
Apparently, I just added on to it because to me he was the main contact.
Okay. Well, when you say main contact, he's the first contact.
He was the first contact. I apologize.
But did you ever then, after that first email exchange, when you talked to him when you went to the estimate on speaker, did you ever talk to him again?
Not that I can think of. No.
Okay. And the same thing with 135, the proposal. I know defense asked me if you sent it to Fabio, but in fact, you have Monica on the proposal as well, correct?
Yes.
Up here, the calamati-mo@hotmail.com.
Yes.
So you included both of them in the proposal when you attached it.
That is correct.
Same with the invoice?
Same with the invoice. Yes.
Both of them were included in the invoice.
That is correct.
When you sent it to him. Those cameras, we talked about being able to move them. When you installed the new ones, did you put them in the same place as the old ones?
I believe it did.
So they were fixed, meaning what? You can't remotely move them, right?
That is correct.
But can you get up and actually physically change the angle of the cameras if you so chose?
You can.
Okay. And then as far as the defendant or anyone being able to stream and look at that, when the defendant downloaded that app, would she be able to do something such as record? Can you watch the video and record what you're looking at on the video screen?
You absolutely can.
But to get that recording, again, do you need the DVR box?
So, just to make sure I understand correctly, so let's say if I'm viewing something, one specific channel, for example, I can record that on my phone, and then I don't need the DVR box anymore.
Right. It's on your phone.
It's on my phone now.
Yes. Okay. Also, from your phone, can you go in and change the angle of the cameras?
No.
Okay, so they're fixed, but you can manually change the angles.
You can manually change them.
Okay.
Physically.
Can you be on, if you know this, can you be on like a WhatsApp or a messaging app simultaneous, again, to having your live feed up watching your cameras?
So just to clarify, make sure I don't say incorrectly, you can have the app running, and then you can switch over to WhatsApp and then come back again to the app.
Okay. So
Without
you go
having
back
to,
and-
without having to close it, relaunch and all that.
And then this app, this IDMSS app, is it complicated to download?
No, just very simple.
No more questions.
Thank you.
Further, Mr. Jones.
Just briefly, Your Honour. Just to clarify, Mr. Khan, you were shown an email that sent the instructions just to Monica. Remember that?
Yes.
Do you remember that there was then an email sent a little bit later on the same day that sent instructions to both Monica and Fabio?
Yes.
Just to show you, Your Honour, I have my own defence packet of correspondence with First Digital MAPT marks Exhibit 611, Defence Exhibit 611.
Yes.
It is 12 pages, showing you, Mr. Khan, Defense Exhibit 611, page 9. This is the sort of missing that hasn't been mentioned yet, that is 12:50 p.m. the same day. These are the instructions, correct?
That is correct.
And this is sent to both Monica and Fabio, right?
Yes.
Okay. You send the proposal before you go to the site, correct? You send a proposal for what you're offering.
After I close.
After you said, okay, that's fine. And as part of that proposal, it talks about having remote access, correct?
Yes.
And so it was part of this installation that you were doing that remote access would be offered, right?
That is correct.
And as you said, that is a common and popular thing that is asked for. Correct?
It is.
Right, thank you very much. No further questions.
Anything further by other people?
No.
Thank you, Mr. Khan. You're excused.
Thank you.
People may call the next witness.
Look, we have another one this morning.
That's called the tap dance.